What do you do?
Uh, it's an interesting question. I produce music. I'm a musician, creative, creator, you name it.
And do you remember the specific day you decided that music was going to be something that you'd pursue?
I think back in 2012, very weird time in my life. I dealt with some depression, and I felt the need to express it some kind of way, and wrote my first song, I guess you could say, and it became a means to therapy for me. And from that moment, I realized the impact that words had, even on myself.
Yeah,
So it became real.
yeah. Um, no, I mean, I know, I remember the specific day that I decided that I was going to be a creative, just going down, uh, just going down, going through COVID and whatnot. COVID hit, and I legit was just in my room, and was watching a YouTube video with Six and Logic,
Yeah.
and I just remember Six, the producer for Logic. He was just like making all these beats and whatnot, and talking about music theory and all these creative ideas and whatnot. And I was like, I I'm doing that. I'm going after that. And I remember just being a junior in high school and going after that. And that was just day one. Starting out with your ideas in your head not really being the ideas you're making in the time where you're still learning and growing in music. If you ever had that time, how did you go, past, or I guess, how did you work through that in a successful manner? Like, um, being able to work through, I guess, some of the trash to be able to get to some of the gold.
Well, I have the saying, man, and I always say, follow the music will tell you. In the earlier stages, man, it was, everything sounds good to you, until you get better and better, and then you look back and you realize, oh, damn, that was kind of, so at the time, just finding more sounds, finding more music, listening to different people, excuse me, helped me, kind of find the right footing. So whatever I was not doing, I never really spent too much time on analyzing what was good or bad. I was more so just in awe with learning the next best sound, or the next best chord or something. So I think working through it was more fun just learning that there's possibilities that, I never knew before.
Hmm. No, I mean, I know for me specifically, I struggled with that,
Mm.
just because I had loads amount of OCD
Yeah.
in my music, and honestly, like, an idea in my head that seemed so perfect but was unfeasible in real life. Like, you always have these perfect ideas in your head,
Yeah.
and you're like, this is how this song is supposed to sound, or this is how this video is supposed to go, or this is how this rhyme is supposed to you know is supposed to flow. This is what I had in my head, and often that's when my creative process can sometimes stop if I allow it.
Yeah.
Where you have these perfect ideas in your head, but it's not coming out. I don't know if you've ever struggled with that, but having some sort of like, uh,
A block.
yeah, roadblocks. What do you call them? Writer's
Writer's
block.
block. Yeah.
You had an album, or you had some sort of EP titled that, correct? Some sort of writer's block. Your
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah.
Uh, but how'd you work through that? You ever had moments like that?
Of course, man. I think it's a beautiful thing to have a block, because at that point, I would imagine you've run out of everything you could say, everything you could have thought, and now you're just kind of like, huh, what now? How can I yeah, go further. But working through it is it's really easy if you know how to position yourself within that time, because it's, it's different if you're in a closed room all day and you have no thoughts. Well, it's different when you go out to a rooftop and you look out and you're like, damn, it's a lot of stuff to see, a lot of stuff to think about what I'm seeing. And so conquering writer's block is just a matter of your environment and what that environment does to your mental.
Just putting yourself
Yeah.
in a different point of view.
Oh yeah.
I made a video forever ago, and I'm just getting brought back to it. But I made this whole thing about going into the new year. It was probably like going into 2023.
Yeah.
But I kid you not, I like went on top of a parking garage, probably the Century Square parking garage. But I like filmed and everything, whatnot. But
Yeah.
I have this feeling I'm having right now, and the feeling I had then. It's like we truly have the capability and the freedom and also all of the opportunities to be like,
Yeah.
despite this block I have, this mental barrier or any sort of barriers that others are placing in front of me with like, what will my family say? What will my
Right.
friends say? What will what will they say when this song flops? What will they say when this thing drops
Yeah.
and it doesn't do well, it doesn't sell, whatever? Like, what next? And will I allow failure to stop me, or will I allow this failure to shape me and kind of teach or mold me on, okay, this worked, okay, this
Right.
didn't work. um, you know Writer's block, in my opinion, kind of just stems from fear and pride. Is what I've kind of gone to, because it's like, for me, honestly, I haven't released any music yet because it's been pride. Because I don't want to release anything that's not to the standard I have in my head, because if I release anything less than, then it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want my name attached to it.
Right.
And then the same one, fear, like, of course I'm afraid of like what people who don't understand some of the creative vision will say, what some of my close friends will say, what some of my family would say, loved
Right.
ones. Honestly, like close friends now even turn to strangers. You still think about some of those people.
Yeah.
It's hard, because when you make music, when you make art, um, you're not only just showcasing some song, like you're showcasing your heart. You're
Yeah.
showcasing like
Yes.
hurt, pain, like mistakes, guilt, shame, like, no, or you could be showcasing like wins, triumphs, like music. So much of music is emotion. Like,
Yeah.
when you go through the certain chords, like why do certain chords and notes evoke a certain emotion? You
Yeah.
automatically know what song, you automatically know the direction of where the song is going just off the four chords,
Right.
you know? Regarding that part, it's like your creative process. What normally comes first? Is it you're feeling something, you got something in your chest, and you just go to the computer and you go to your DAW? I think you use FL like me. Do you just go and make something on what you're feeling, grow it from there, and start writing to it? Or do you kind of just hear something that you made a while ago? Like, what's like a good step-by-step process of, how you create, your music?
Uh, First, I like to keep the main thing in focus, which is letting the music tell me. So, right off bat, man, I'm listening to different sounds, seeing what kind of emotions can be, you know, present. Um, Sometimes, I mean, I've done premeditated stuff where I already have an idea written down or something, and then I'll cater the beat around that. But
Mm-hmm.
most times I would just mess around with some sounds, and I play a lot of instruments, so I'll probably hop on a keyboard or something and see what happens, and from there I'll know, oh, okay, well, I felt this way, this is the type of theme, this is the song, this is where I want to go.
Because you've
So
told me one time You know, most artists nowadays are releasing singles. You told me your creative process, it's much more fluid when you release them as albums because you start to piece the songs together. I could be wrong on this, tell me if I'm
No, no,
wrong.
no, yeah,
But you
yeah,
told me your overall process was flowed better. Um, you know, thinking of the songs as pieces to a bigger story.
right,
So I know you got an album coming up soon. I know I was a part of your last one.
yeah.
Uh, and what was the name of your last one?
Now,
You remember?
Daniel,
Daniel.
yeah,
I was a part of that one. You threw me on one of the end of the songs, and I had no idea you were going to, but I'm honored.
yeah,
Hopefully we can make some of our songs happen soon.
oh yeah,
Busy life, man.
oh yeah,
But you pieced the Daniel one together, I guess, with the two projects being fresh.
mm,
Compare and contrast, you know, with this new album, you can elaborate on that, the name, and maybe some of the ideas, whatever you want to elaborate on, whatever you
yeah,
don't, feel free to hide some stuff
mhm,
and wait for the, you know, listeners to see when you release. But
right.
what's the different vibes and, or I guess different feels, emotions, and stuff you're trying to portray um, with this album,
Right.
and you know where your headspace is at now, and then recall back to your headspace back then and why you took Daniel down a certain path. You following the question?
Yeah, so it's really just a continuation from Daniel. Daniel being the introduction of many things that I am and who I stand for and what can be conceptualized in who I am. Uh, the next album, the newest one, getting ready to drop is No More Humble. So it's Daniel No More Humble. So it's just one of those things where you have to really be a fan of music, man, and really see what's happening within the sonics and to pay attention to the idea of, well, and Daniel, I gave you guys not only who I am, but it was very vague, but just the idea of you can't put me in a box so early. You can't do it. It's impossible. Because the next song is going to be this, the next song is going to be that. So it's more vague, but it still showed, hey, okay, I'm versatile. Normal Humble is more relatable. I am being more vulnerable. I'm being more, hey, this is really, really who I am. I know this is who I was in Daniel, but that was a mask. I had told someone earlier in this month, or last month, I guess, I had said something on the lines of, because I can't really remember how I put it. It was crazy how I said it. I was basically saying the different traumas, the different things that I am, the different masks that I put on. It's all based off of insecurities that, I couldn't really find a way to completely hide. So I just become a certain personality to combat with those vulnerabilities. So in Normal or Humble, I'm expressing these different ways I cope, or I'll hide rather, and become this person. And when you go back to the other albums, being Daniel being the closest one up in line, you'll see, oh, okay, that makes sense because now I know this is what he does when this happens. So I go listen to this, it's like, oh, that's what he meant. So it's just a continuation, really. It's all a story.
Hmm.
Because I feel like dropping a single, I'm not able to really articulate my best on a single project. So I try my best to give it all in a bigger form, which is an album. That answers your question.
Yeah. So with all your albums that you've been able to release, name them off for me.
The first one is wow, Noah.
Yeah.
Second one is the acronym of Noah, niggas on a horse.
Okay.
And then the third one was Daniel. The fourth one was Will Be, and it's called No More Humble.
You got four. You got four projects under your belt. Five, four,
Four, yeah.
four projects under your belt. Um, and I know how not from kind of from just from what I've heard from artists, from what friends have said regarding the maybe some of the tediousness and some of the, I guess, uh, some of the mental taxation maybe
Mhm.
of creating long projects.
Right.
You got four under your belt, and that's impressive. I mean, I've had mental taxation to the point that I haven't even finished songs or finished projects, whether it's been, video projects or photo projects.
Yeah.
I've been sitting on a video project for like 1 or 2 months now, just because it's been hard to articulate. Um, this video project, I'll probably either be released by the time this is coming out or released right after this comes out. But it's honestly just like a long prayer. Just honestly, a lot of some sort of just vicious cycle that goes on in my heart regarding like, some of the stumbling blocks, some of the mistakes I've
Yeah.
made, some of the people I've hurt, um, like my not so great moments, whether it's been in front of others or behind closed doors. We, as artists, we know the best things about ourselves and then some of the worst things about ourselves.
Yeah.
And that could be a heavy weight to carry.
Mhm.
And I know you well, and I know you well. We both proclaim ourselves as believers, as Christians,
Yeah.
and especially with it being a creative art, it's like that fine line of like, just because you proclaim your faith does not mean you have to create all of your art necessarily under it.
Right.
We live in a broken world, and some of the art I want to make, I want to show the broken world. I don't want to, white blanket everything, saying that the world's always great and dandy. That's not the case. But
Yeah.
on the flip end of that, like we do have a hope that never leaves, despite how low we get, or honestly how high we get regarding wins and losses.
Yeah.
So with that thought process that I've ran through regarding your creative process, like we're coming from two different kinds of cultures, and we have two different kinds of, I guess, people around us, truths that we believe just because of how we were shaped when we were younger,
Yeah.
truths that may not even be truths, but seems like absolute truths to ourselves just because of what our parents said or what our, you know, grandmother said or what this, kids at school said, what we grew up in, just different environments.
Yeah.
But regarding like our background shaping us to a person, to honestly a broken vessel or a broken man that we are, striving to be better.
Yeah.
We also have, a creative mind and a creative spirit. And when you're meshing both the broken spirit and the creative one, like that's when some of the best art can be made. But with all that being said, have you ever tapped in to some of the like some low moments and you ending up going to a microphone or going up to your laptop to create? Uh, is there anything regarding that where music's been some sort of answer for you?
Yeah, man. It. I'm 24 years old. I'll be 25 this year. And one thing I've learned a little bit later on in my life so far is that I get more passionate when bad things happen to me.
Mm.
I better can articulate. I can see things a little bit more black and white when it's complete chaos going on, which is pretty weird. But
Mm.
I'm a very sensitive soul. I have an old soul as well. So certain things resonate with me a little differently. God forbid something bad happens to my family members.
Yeah.
I'll have I'll have a crazy song about it, and it'll be one of my best,
Yeah.
just because I'm taking the essence of my problems and converting it into song form.
Yeah.
And there's other times where I've tried to, nothing may necessarily be going on bad, and I'm not able. That's when I might have a writer's block or something. But when you have pain, man, you have turmoil,
Yeah.
just straight a bad day, rainy day. It just seems to open up a lot more words, a lot more feelings that
Gotcha.
you can see right before you in the moment. It's almost like you can just take that feeling and write it down.
Yeah.
It's a bit easier. And going back to the believer standpoint, I think that's the beauty of it, man. Uh, the word says in our weakness, his strength is made perfect in our weakness. And then I never understood that, man, until I started seeing myself as weak, Um,
For when we are weak, he is strong.
exactly. So being able to see what weakness looks like, you can understand a little bit better, where you are.
And that takes humility
Yeah.
to say that we have weakness, because
Oh yeah.
us men, we're too damn prideful.
Oh yeah.
And that's like the whole like counterintuitive thing. It's like, you know, uh, you just run around. It's like being a Christian's so easy. You just accept Jesus into your heart, and that's it. But the thing is with that, it's like, no, that's a really hard thing to do, because when you
Yeah.
do go through that act of like, oh, I am, oh, like, I am an awful person capable of doing awful things. Like, that is the
Right.
human condition. And I am right here saying that I need a savior. I need someone to be able to uh, lead me, pick me up when I fall, and
Yeah.
teach me what's right and wrong, because I cannot do it myself. I'm not strong
Yeah.
enough. And
Exactly.
it's that humility that leads you to strength, that weakness that leads you to strength, because we're not white knuckling the strength ourselves. That often just leads us to be bitter, angry, and just, I guess, hollow, because we're
Yeah.
just seeking something, some sort of strength that we can't ever truly get unless we get these short moments of feel good moments of like applause from others, and
Right.
so maybe even putting others down to make ourselves feel better, which I'm guilty of.
That we
Um,
all.
but like when you release your music, it's hard to not put your identity in the reactions and the likes and the comments and the views and the numbers. Like you can. That's the thing right now, is I see so many talented artists around this area, around just hearing people, whether it's random on Instagram or random on Spotify. Like there's pure talent that
Yeah.
maybe is only shown to 500 people. In those moments, like, I know, just seeing you, I remember first hearing about you, I saw some sort of post. You're at liberal arts. You're at the liberal arts school,
Yeah.
A&M. You were with Zano and
Shout
some
out
of
to
the other
Zano.
guys. Yeah, shout out
Mr.
Zano,
Ram.
bro. I remember seeing this and I was like, dude, I didn't know we had some of these artists in the area. And I immediately was like, I need to get in touch with this guy, because I love music. I love to
Yeah.
create. I would love to be able to learn from this guy.
Yeah.
We met up. I don't know where we met up. Do you remember where we met up? Shoot, hold up.
Man, huh.
Was it Grand Stafford?
It may have been the Grand Stafford.
Ah,
I feel like there was another time before that, but it may have been officially there.
well, I know we started chopping it up and being able to, have some ideas thrown down on paper, just with our two different minds and creative styles.
Yeah.
But it's been really cool to see you release one album, and now you in the process of another one. We've definitely have had our different journeys creatively,
Yeah.
and it's been encouraging because I know the time frame of you starting your music a few years ago and where you are now. It's encouraging for me being able to be like, yeah, it takes time. Like, but what
Yeah.
do I have to do in regard to that? Is just start now, you know? And that's the same thing as starting now or just continuing to keep going. And that's everything you've done, which has been really admirable.
Appreciate that,
So
man.
I definitely lift you up in that, which has been a really cool thing. But no, I mean, oh, there's a handful of questions I know I wanted to ask you just off the rip. Three biggest inspirations,
Mm.
music wise. I know one of them already.
Like artist or like what inspires me to make music.
I say artists, but you can add the first one too.
First and foremost, yeah, I already know Mr. Kendrick Lamar,
Mr. Morale.
the big stepper himself. And I say that a lot, but I don't think I really explain why. Um, I'm not a fan of Kendrick Lamar. I'm a student. I learn from him. You
Yeah,
know, I take notes on what he does and how he does it. Not to mimic or to replicate, but just to understand what it is that I'm feeding into me.
because he's
Mm.
probably top five MCs
Oh yeah,
ever, if not top
oh yeah.
three.
In my book, he's number one. He's just I pay more attention to the storytelling because I love stories. You know, granted, the average listener every day, you know, when they're waking up in the morning, take their jog or drink their coffee, they may not want a story told to
Yeah,
them,
they'll
but
be
you
listening to
know,
Drizzy,
right?
Drizzy Dre.
BBO Drizzy. Uh, no, but it's I come from the background of the stereotypical Christianity household.
Yeah.
So when I'm
So did
listening
Kendrick,
to
didn't he?
he didn't he
Oh,
didn't
I
it was
swear his mom was Catholic.
something similar for sure.
I could be wrong. Yeah.
But when I'm listening to him being a Christian kid living in this vicious world, it's almost like I'm at church.
Hmm.
And that's where I hear the most, I listen the most. And so for it to be in the world, that's the closest that I can say, hey, I may not be close, but I'm still getting good doctrine.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have the mindset to go harm anyone. I don't have the mindset of, you know, stealing or robbing or killing or, you know,
Yeah.
those kinds of things. But I'm listening to something that not only uplifts me, it empowers me. It makes me feel like, oh man, I need to work harder in this area of my life. Or, oh, I didn't know that he went through that too. Oh yeah, man, I'm not alone, you know, that
Hmm.
kind of thing. So that's the number one thing that inspires me. The second would be, man, what inspires me to make music. It's my name. I am Daniel. You know, I'm Daniel's son, yeah, but my actual name is Daniel. That's my last name. And my family, man, on my dad's side, the Daniels don't have a good rap. You know, they don't really have a good name. It's anyone that, you know, I grew up locally here, Bryan College Station. Anyone back in the day would say, "Oh, you son of who now? Oh, what? Oh, no." You know, and it's just a bad name all around. I want to be the first in my family to turn that name around, and when you hear it nowadays, oh man, Daniel, oh yeah, he did this, oh yeah, he did that. I want to be the first to change that dynamic,
Yeah.
and so far, man, I'm the only one to do so. So that's what
Hmm.
inspires me more so because even if I'm not a household name right now, even at this level, I'm already doing that.
And you're already
And
changing your
already
household name.
changing it, man.
Yeah.
And that means a lot to me because I've I have young people looking up to me. I have
You
older
do.
people looking up to me. My
Yeah.
mom, my dad, especially my dad, my sisters, my brothers. They're already looking up to me, and I'm on the low level right now, man. You know.
Yeah.
And so to be able to impact my family already now, just imagine when I'm able to actually, you know, financially do something or start something up in the world to where it can change not only my family but other families. That's that's what inspires me the most. Because if I don't, then who will? Because no one has so far.
Very similar to mine,
Yeah,
because it's like you empower people the most when you showcase the most vulnerable parts
yeah,
of yourself. When you start to open up and showcase things that you're ashamed of, it often seems like you bringing it. I mean, this is in scripture as well. Like you bringing things into the light, like takes away, shame's power, and
yeah,
uplifts you and uplifts others. Like I have so many artists I listen to, and I was truly inspired by fears that they talked about, struggles that they talked about. And
yeah.
that's the thing with social media nowadays. Like we're only showcasing our best aspects. We're showcasing perfection on social media, and often like even imperfection that's shown on social media. Like I know I've posted work and
Yeah,
I see so many flaws in it. And I've had people come up to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, I absolutely loved your shoot when you went here, here, here." I've had like I've met people who've come up to me and were like, "You inspired me to start doing
yeah,
this, start doing photography, to start this brand. Like I've
yeah,
been following you for a while and I absolutely love your work." And here I am being like, "Oh, I'm so far away from where I want to be. I'm not good enough. I'm not like this one artist, you know?" Um, and on the flip side of that, like working through the OCD and perfectionism, like I mentioned earlier,
yeah,
but also embracing it, because that's what makes me Cody and that's what makes you Daniel.
yeah,
It's like, your certain touches, like your mess ups, your imperfections in your work can be maybe some of the best things that happen within the song, like breaking things up, changing things up, and just having the different uh, flows and styles and looks and feels. Like that's truly unique
yeah.
to you. It's truly unique to me, and that's kind of the idea. I mean, this is my first Atone 7 session, and I'm very, very thankful, and I'm very, very excited to talk about all sorts of different uh, issues and whatnot. I wanted to focus on music and creating and
Yeah.
honestly just faith starting out. But, we're the fact that people are encouraged through imperfection has, you talked about your reason why. Like my reason why is to encourage others, um, through my imperfections, through my sin, through my uh, failures and shortcomings. And I know that's everybody.
Yeah.
We've gotten good at hiding it.
Uh,
Um, and there's no reason to hide it because I know my worth isn't based off my last success. It's, just solely based off, you know,
that's a
like,
solely.
yeah, you finish your sentence.
Yeah.
It's based off what I already know is true about me. Um, that just doesn't change. Um, but Daniel, what's next?
You know, my brother always used to tell me this, and it's very interesting. It stuck with me all this time. He said it's one thing to think great. It's another thing to be a great thinker. And any idea I might have, whether it's musically or it's something in the world and life with myself or whatever, I try my best to put myself in the scenario. There's someone else out there in the world, my same age, doing the same thing I'm doing, but they're doing it better than I am. Why? So I begin to
That's
think.
good.
I begin to try to figure out, imagine that person somewhere in the world. I'm always thinking like they're Indian or something. I don't know. But there's someone out there doing it better than me, and they're probably using less than I'm using. So
Yeah.
that pushes me to work harder. I'm thinking of the next best grand idea to get me to the next level. like I said, whether it's music, anything in life. So I like to live by that code, man. It's
Always
one,
push into something
always.
bigger and greater. That's the
And
one thing I've always seen about creatives.
yeah.
Chris, if you're watching this, this is because of you, but Jordan Peterson, he put me on, and creatives are always looking for the barriers and they're wanting to move
Oh
past
yeah.
them.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I've gotten in trouble with friends and loved ones for like seeing a barrier and being like, okay, how can I break that? I
Yeah.
learned this new thing about music, about video, and okay, how can I already break that and make something new and different?
Right.
Like, I see that in you as well. It's like you learn things to break in, like you talked about Kendrick Lamar. You
Yeah.
know, you're a student of him. Like, you love his sound. I've heard, when I first heard your music, bro, I was like, this dude sounds like K Dot, and I was like, bro, I can rock with that because I love K Dot. But
Yeah.
you know, you're not mimicking him. You know, you're taking his sound, you're learning with it, and then you're putting your own flow with
Yeah.
you know, I guess some of the maybe more so melodic rap, but
Right.
flipped and switched with some of the, you know, old school style flows. Like, I've heard nitty gritty sounding beats where you're messing with your voice dynamics and everything,
Yeah.
and then other sounds where you're, you know, hitting more so melodic sounding beats. You know, even like Roses in the Dark being something totally different. I love that specific song from your Daniel album.
Man, you know what's crazy, man? That album released last year. I had that song. I wrote, produced that song like almost 7 years ago,
Yeah. Wow.
and I mean, I released it a couple of times, but it never did justice the way I felt like it should have. So I released it again last year, and
Hmm.
the story behind it, man, it's very universal because the idea is, everything that glistens and shines is in gold, you know,
Hmm.
and even if it's relationships or not, anything can be a rose in the dark. If it's dead, it's dead. There's nothing giving it life, it can't grow. So to
Yeah.
recognize those dead things around you is very vital, because follow the root, you realize, no matter how deep this thing goes, it's the same result. It's dead, you know? And I try my best to stay around the light, stay around the source of life,
Hmm.
you know? Even the word says faith without works is dead. You follow the root behind it all.
Hmm.
Am I believing in this because of this only, or am I believing in this because I've been working this hard, plus I have faith, you know? Just, give it life.
Talking about vanity, bro. That's been
Yeah,
a huge thing in my creative process and making sure I'm not creating in vain. And
yeah,
I've done it. I've created in vain. I've created in a humble heart posture. Like, it's hard because feelings, emotions, like,
yeah,
we are constantly changing back and forth. So part of the reason why I'm trying to start a 7 sessions with my media company is to inspire others through story, through experience, through visuals. You know, with artists like you being able to inspire a younger generation, athletes in the college level or professional level, able to
yeah,
inspire kids in elementary school, kids in middle school, like the kids we met today in high school. You know, playing football in high school, looking up to people in the next steps and people in the next steps. There's always someone you can look up to,
yeah,
whether you're an NFL player looking up to a Hall of Famer, or you know, a middle school player looking up to the varsity football kid. You know, it's a beautiful thing because that calls you up into a role that you can't fill just yet.
yeah,
Uh, but regarding some people who may be listening, who are interested in rapping, who are interested in maybe making music, whether it's a producer, whether it's a songwriter, whether it's a rapper, whether it's all, like, you know, whatever it may be. what's some advice you would give to the starting process and like maybe working through fear, maybe working through, just some of the failures and honestly so many roadblocks that you end up starting with. Um, what's some advice you would give to some of the younger people who look up to you, like you mentioned earlier?
And in high school, I read this poster in my English class. It said, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take."
Didn't Michael Jordan say that?
He probably
I
did.
think it was in there.
That's probably
Maybe, yeah. Or Michael Scott.
somebody great said it. Someone with a great
Facts.
mind. They're a great thinker.
Facts, yeah.
There's nothing impossible in this world. I have more to live, but I've lived long enough so far to understand that anything is possible, especially when your heart is in the right place and you got good backing behind you. Your soul, your spirit, your mind, everything is right, pure. The only advice, man, I could ever give anybody: don't stop, keep going. There's a million ways to do it wrong. There's a million ways to do it right. It doesn't matter as long as you're doing it. You know, as long as you got blood in your body, as long as you're breathing, as long as you can see, you got your health, nothing is going to stop you but you. They say sky's the limit, sky is not the limit. The sky's the limit for unbelievers.
Yeah.
Once you believe in yourself, believe in God, believe in the people around you, the people that's placed around you, and blow the world off the rocker. Do it. Keep going.
You're not meant to carry the world. You're just supposed to carry yourself and
Exactly.
carry what God's given you. Shoot.
They say, no
Yeah.
man can close the doors that God has opened. If God gives you an idea, that's all. That's how it really starts. It's an idea. He'll plant a seed in your mind, and it's up to you to act on it. Because one thing about it is, no one will ever force you to do anything, but they'll get you to think. And like I said before, it's one thing to think great. It's another thing to be a great thinker.
Yeah.
If you have that idea, water that seed, let God give the increase. Those people will fall in place in your life. People will come. Man, all the music that I do right now, I didn't pay a dime for the equipment. Everything came from somebody in my entire life. The only thing I've ever paid for was probably like a new laptop charger, because I broke mine.
Yeah.
Everything else has been given to me because someone has seen something in me and they're like, "Hey, I want you to have this because I see you going somewhere." All a gift. Everything I have was a gift, literally.
Sweet.
Because I have a gift, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Individual gifts that God's given us.
oh yeah.
It's a shame if we don't go after it. And it's different for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Some may be more so pleasing to the world.
Yeah.
Some others would say, but like every single piece to the grand picture of the puzzle of society of this world, like
Yeah.
we all have a part to play. We all have a life to impact, whether it's one or whether it's a million. Like that's what I've had to tell myself. Like if I just impact one person in this entire journey, then it's worth it. Just
Oh
one.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's what keeps me going. Because I know there is at least one person out there that's watching me, and I know that I have an opportunity to showcase, showcase just some of my best work that can be honoring
Yeah.
to the one who created me, creating for the one who created me. What are some words you would tell to your younger self to wrap this
younger
up?
self,
Yeah.
I'd first say, wake up, fool. It's time to get up.
Yeah.
It's very comical, but man, open your eyes.
Yeah.
And see it for yourself, because it's real. It's possible, and you're close.
Yeah.
And I take it a step further. If I'm saying that to my younger self, then my future self is telling me the same thing right now.
Yeah.
Wake up, you're close, it's time. That would be the difference.
All right. Well, it's currently 2:30 in the morning, and your girl is blowing up your
Blowing
phone.
my cellular device
So
as
we're
we
gonna have
speak.
to end this. But this is Daniel's son. His Instagram is I am Daniel's son. Give this man a follow. Go give him a listen on Spotify, Apple Music. Music Together will be out soon. I'm just a college
Absolutely.
student and a full-time photographer, videographer. So, priorities maybe. But yeah, give this man a listen. He's extremely talented and truly an inspiration of mine and a good friend. So yeah,
Appreciate that, bro.
it's nice talking with you.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, until the next one.
Peace.